Most of the people that I work with are either just feeling stuck or maybe they've been at the same level of income for the last 5 years and they're ready to move on. They're ready to have bigger success. Success is determined by the individual, right? What does success mean for you? So I think you had mentioned before is like losing weight as well. That could absolutely be. But so we use the term releasing weight because if you lose something, you're going to go find it and it's going to come back to you. But
That's awesome. I like it. Releasing weight. Yes. Maybe that mindset will help.
yeah, well, it really does. So that goes into like the cybernetics of it, but we can get there in a second. But yeah, so looking at, what are your goals, right? That's the biggest thing is trying to figure out what are your goals? What are your biggest desires, your biggest wants?
Welcome to Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jeni Jonte, the host of this podcast, which is all about beverage innovation. I talk with innovation pioneers from agriculture to glass. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe to be notified of all new episodes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. My name is Jeni Jonte, and I have Jeni Jonte here, owner, founder, and coach at Eliminate Impossible. Welcome, Jeni.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here today.
All right, me too. So Jeni is a veteran that's here today to kind of talk about, how she enrolled in our military service and kind of how she, rolled out into the civilian world. So I'm super, super excited to kind of hear about her journey and why she chose to be in the service and then what she's doing now. So where are you calling from, Jeni?
I'm in Colorado currently,
Nice. Whereabouts?
south of Denver.
Okay. All right. Nice. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful area out there.
It is, yes, yes. But I miss the ocean, so that's my goal by the end of the year is to move to the ocean again.
Wow, okay. So you have a lofty goal of moving halfway across the country one way or the other.
It's a small goal. It's okay.
It's just a little one. So
It's
are you
already done.
from are you from in Colorado?
I'm actually from Illinois,
Okay.
but we have lived now in Colorado. This summer will be 10 years, which
Okay.
is crazy to say because it doesn't feel like that long. But my husband and I met in St. Augustine, Florida, actually.
Nice. That's
That's
in our
where,
neighborhood.
yeah, we went to grad school there.
Yeah. What a great, great, great city. We
Yes.
we just love it. We'll even go out for lunch for the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, we just love that community. There's a lot of, you know, ghost stories and
Hmm. There are.
tragedy and all sorts of sadness that happens at I guess, the first city of an entire giant country that got founded.
Yes, yes. But there's also the fountain of youth, right?
The
So,
fountain of youth. Yep,
yes. So,
you gotta love that sulfur.
yes. It really, really tastes like it too, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I know. And I did drink out of it. I don't know if it's apparent after living in this dry climate for more than 10 years.
yeah, I think it definitely works. We should be going up there and getting it like, buckets of it, once a
Yeah,
year or something.
yeah.
Just
I
kind of
think just
use
a
it
yearly dose.
sparingly.
Yeah.
Do a shot.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Move over apple cider vinegar.
Sulfur water is the winner.
Sulfur water is the winner. It is the new youth. Love it. All right. And sorry, where are you originally from?
Illinois.
Illinois. And where in Illinois?
Kind of the outer suburbs of Chicago.
Okay. So I'm a close latitude. I'm from Iowa,
Okay, yeah.
northeast area.
That's awesome. We would always drive. So actually, as a kid, we would always drive from Chicago out here to Colorado, which is what had brought me here. And I thought I wanted to live here.
Yeah.
So we just took, 80 for ever and ever coming out
Yes.
here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from where I lived, it's a good haul. It's about 6 hours, to Chicago.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It doesn't too
Not to
bad.
Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to do it in 2 days, but
Yeah. Well,
It
now
was
you can
fun.
ride the train.
I know, we should have done that. I don't know why did the Amtrak not go through?
I don't know. I just know
Okay.
some people that from my hometown have taken the train out there because they didn't wanna fly or drive.
Yes,
It
yes.
sounds like
Although,
fun.
what I do not recommend is the Greyhound. So we actually my friend and I in college took the Greyhound from Illinois to Miami for spring break
Yeah.
one year. It was an
Oopsies.
interesting trip, to say the least.
Yeah, and so we hitchhiked back. That's what we did, yeah.
We should have. Better off.
Ooh, there's a puppy. Is that a golden?
Can you see him? So he's one that we are dog sitting, and
Oh,
yes,
okay.
he's a golden. Ours is under my desk at the moment.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but they're both puppies, 9 months and 5 months. So they've been
Oh,
a little
wow.
crazy.
Yeah. We have a golden, and she'll be 12 this year.
Wow.
I know. Goes so fast.
It really does. Yes. Yes. We had a dog last year that passed on, but she was 16, which
Oh,
is
wow.
hard to believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So finally got a puppy.
Yeah,
It
it
took a
takes a
while.
while.
Yes.
Yeah, we're a big dog family. So you're from Chicago, so you graduate from high school, and then what? Start from the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Okay. So after high school, I went to undergrad at Millikan University, which is in the
Okay.
middle of Illinois. But it's not far from, like, Irving, Champaign-Urbana, so
Okay.
close to U of I-ish. So if we wanted a big school, we would go, hang out there. And then from there, so I had decided in high school actually that I was gonna be a physical therapist. So that was what I did, and that's actually what brought me to St. Augustine, because I went to grad school at University of St. Augustine for health sciences, which was founded, and that's the original location there. They now have, like, 4 or 5, I don't know, locations. It's crazy. But so I started out my career as a physical therapist, and then that was actually what brought me into the Navy as well. So after 3 years of working as a PT, I've always wanted to serve in some way or another besides, I serve my patients,
Right.
I wanted to serve in the country, I wanted to do something to give back. So I did it backwards. So if anybody who's listening, go the other way. Have the military pay for your
Yeah.
education. So
It
after I
saves
had
a lot
already
of
been
money.
established, yes, and then I get in and they're like, "Oh, your degree is too high. There's no loan reimbursement for you. We don't need any extra PT, so there's no bonuses for you or anything like that." And I didn't
Well,
think
did you
anything of it until I got in and heard how much the dentists and nurses were getting for bonuses.
Wow. Well,
So I was
did
like,
you
"Oh."
come in at a higher rank then?
I did. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I came
Okay.
in as a lieutenant, um,
Okay.
which was great. So I served as a physical therapist, so part of the medical service corps. And then so I was primarily reserves, and then I also, did my ATs, and I did deployment to Afghanistan, again as part of the medical unit. So served over there and helped. The great part about it, so there's not a lot of joy, right, or exciting things about being in theater, but the good part was I was the only PT for the whole base. So I worked with all of the different countries, everybody that was there. So of course I got to meet people from all over the world, and that included contractors, anybody who needed care or anything. I was the person that took care of them while they were there.
Wow.
So that was the good part, right?
Yeah.
The rest of it
Interesting.
not so, yeah, not so
Yeah.
glorious, but so that was an interesting time, and then, through I was a PT for about almost 16 years as well. That's funny. And all this time, I've always been kind of a personal development and self-growth junkie, so always tried to consume as much information as I could in that area, read tons of books, listened to podcasts, like, watched movies, all of the stuff that I could do to get my hands on, and I would feel a little bit better here and there, but it wasn't until I was introduced actually to Bob Proctor, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh," it connected all of the pieces of everything that I had been learning on my
Learning.
own, but I
Yeah.
wasn't really implementing, and then it was just like this huge aha, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I know what I need to do." Because although I loved physical therapy, it wasn't as fulfilling as, I had envisioned it was going to be. I felt like something was missing, and then I was meant for more and to make a bigger impact. So that's how I transitioned from that into my own coaching career and starting my own business. So, and it's interesting, even I listened to, so my husband's a PT as well. We met in school in Florida.
Yeah.
So St. Augustine's
Okay.
just a magical city. What could I say?
It is. It is. Except, I mean, it is in during Christmas time, but
Yes, the Nights of Lights, I love it.
like, oh, there's so many people.
Are there now? Yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't when we were there, but it's been a couple of years,
oh,
so
it we got stuck on 95 trying to get off I-4 going north for,
uh-huh,
like, an hour. Then we got rerouted other times through, like, PGA and all the things. And then
interesting.
yeah, and then, you get in town and you still have to wait to get because where we stay at the Marriott, which is kind of on the
Mhm,
north side of town, and
mhm,
then obviously it's across the street and you just walk everywhere.
yes.
But, yeah, we were talking to the bartender and she's like, "Yeah, I kinda have to get here an hour early during Christmas." And
Oh,
then
okay.
we went to that Columbia restaurant, which, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that food is
that one
good.
it's good. Now that one's always busy though, I feel like.
Well, it's huge. It's, like,
Yeah.
at least 2 stories or something.
Do they still do a 1905 day, do you know?
I don't know.
They would
I don't
roll the
know.
price because that was when it was established, they would roll the prices back to prices for 1905.
Yeah, they're not doing that, I'm sure. But
They're like,
that's
"No."
cool. I don't know.
It was a busy day. They were very
Yeah,
crowded that day.
I bet. That's so funny. Well, so finally, I mentioned something to the bartender. We just snuck up to the bar and got some food real quick,
Mhm.
and I'm like, "What is the draw? Like, what is happening? Yes, this is a beautiful city. Yes, this is really cool and really awesome, but why are they all speaking Spanish?" And uh he told us that well what happens is during the holidays is that people from South Central and South America will meet their families halfway and they'll come to St. Augustine and have Christmas
That's
and meet.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was
Okay.
interesting too.
Yeah. I remember the
Yeah.
snowbirds, that was
Yeah.
I complained about them when I lived there, but
Yeah. I don't know.
but
It's it's
that's
interesting.
so
I mean,
yeah.
we've had some amazing meals and such great shopping experiences there. The museums are they just make you chuckle. Like, oh, I forget the name of the crazy museum
The
with the
Ripley's,
pool.
believe it or not.
No,
Was that the one? Oh, no.
no, this guy has some interesting stuff there.
Oh, I don't
I don't
know.
know. I'll have to put it in the show
Okay.
notes or something, but it's not important. But we giggled throughout the entire experience
That's
just
cool.
because
I gotta
the
think of that.
random stuff he collected. So is that where you and your husband wanna go back to?
Potentially. So we're looking at there or possibly like Virginia Beach or so
Yeah,
we have a few ideas. We just gotta narrow it down now
yeah.
and then
Well,
go.
warm or cold? Which do you prefer?
I prefer warm, but it definitely need the ocean. But that's where, Virginia Beach is kind of like that compromise for everybody in the family because, kids like the seasons,
Yeah,
but yet it's not as cold as here.
yeah. Fair.
So, and I still
Yeah.
have water. So, that's,
You still have water, yeah.
yeah.
And that's a beautiful area too.
Yeah, we're gonna be going next month, so if you know anything about the area you wanna share of where to be sure to go or when I've been to Norfolk, of course,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
didn't really get to explore while I was there, and I didn't make it over to Virginia Beach, so
You didn't?
no,
Okay.
no. I was
Yeah,
just
I've
in and out processing, so I didn't really have a lot of free time there.
yeah, that's fair. I might have some restaurants. I'll peek poke around and see if they're still around. There's a good hotel we used to stay in, but the Navy Pier is where we ended up staying a lot too because it was kind of newer and there's a lot going on over there. There was
Uh-huh.
a huge Marriott and a huge Hilton with a bunch of restaurants in it. And then
Yeah.
they had Guy Fieri had a restaurant concept over there, and it was just
Okay.
really kind of fun and walkable, and whatnot. So yeah, I recommend staying over there if that's of interest. But if you want to be on the beach, of course, you need to go the other side, and I
Yes,
get that
yes.
too. But the water's
That's
cold.
very cool. Cold, is that what you said?
Yeah, the water's cold there.
Excuse me, that's what I feel about California. I lived in California for a while as well.
Yeah,
And I know people love it, but to me, the water is so cold.
yeah, the water's
I
cold.
like I like the warmer water, yes, like down south and definitely
Yeah,
more on the East Coast, but
yeah, for sure. So
mhm.
how long did you end up serving in the Navy, all in total?
Total so at the last, like, couple years, I was IRR
What's
and
that?
then so inactive ready reserve. So I wasn't actively drilling anymore for about 2 years, so probably 9 years actively,
Okay.
and then I did that.
And did your husband serve too?
He did not, no,
He did
he
not.
He's like, "No, you're crazy, you do that." No, there was a time when we both were considering, like, going in active duty, and then,
Yeah.
things just shifted, and I continued to pursue it, and he had other interests.
Well, that's cool. That's great. You get to pursue your own interests. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so talk more about this book that you read and how it empowered you to kind of move in this direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was actually a video of
A
Bob.
video, okay.
Yeah, so I was doing something else for a while, just trying to, like, it was like this little side hustle that I was trying to do. I never really got that into it, but the person who was running it had just shared a video. She would often share, like, motivational videos, different things. And so I was like, "I'll just listen to it and, we'll see." But I stopped everything I was doing and started taking notes, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness, where has this been?" But it was just the way that he was explaining it made so much sense to me, and then it really brought it all together. So, just in his way of explaining what paradigms are in our subconscious mind and the way that we're programmed and how that is where we're taking action from our emotional mind. And then talking about the different frequencies, right? So that we are always in a state of vibration and that we are vibrating on a certain frequency. But if what we desire is on a totally different frequency, then we will never meet that. So, and even in just this one video, and then I started to do a deep dive for like 2 weeks of getting, watching all of his videos that I could. And then it didn't take long before I was just like, okay, I know what I need to do. And it was probably from the first video that I watched of his to when I signed up, because that's where I got my training was through the Proctor Gallagher Institute. It was less than a month. Like, I just knew right
Yeah.
away. So,
That's awesome.
I found a way and made it happen.
Yeah. Okay. And what kind of training is that? Like what and how long?
Yes, so it's a basically a 6-month training program, and then certain steps that you have to go through to become certified. But what I also love is just the community that we have, and it's so empowering, it's really amazing. And then we do 2 live in-person trainings every year. So at the beginning of March, we had one in Arizona, and it is just absolutely incredible. There's
Nice.
nothing like it. And then we have constant stuff that we do all the time. Like there's weekly calls every week. There's different, we have like business builder groups, like all kinds of different trainings and things that we have available to us at all the time.
Okay. How do you help people? Who are you looking for and who are you helping them? How are you
Yeah,
helping people?
absolutely. So I work with entrepreneurs and business owners. Really, so when I heard this first time statistic, I was like, I don't really believe that. But I've come to understand. So our success and our results are 95 at least percent coming from our mindset and only 5% maybe from the strategy that we use. So when I fully started to understand that, I was like, "Oh my goodness. So why
That's a
do we
lot.
not?" It really is. Yes. And I think I heard that and I just like skimmed by it for the longest time. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, 95% mindset." But then it started to sink in. I'm like, "Wow. So if I'm not addressing this mindset and this 95%, then I'm just spinning my wheels, working my tail off with all of the different strategies, which I even was doing in the beginning. I was letting everybody tell me, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to, and I just was so overwhelmed and stuck because I wasn't getting the results that I wanted because I wasn't even applying my own training to myself very well. So it wasn't until I fully started to embody it and understand what that actually meant and then shift from the inside, and then things started to change in my physical results. So that is
Interesting.
primarily what I do is to help people, especially when they're feeling stuck and overwhelmed and they know, like I knew that I was meant to do something more. They were meant for bigger success and bigger results. They had a bigger desire and vision, and we just help close that gap and bring them from wherever they are here to here and beyond. So, and you do that through
Interesting.
shifts and changes in the mindset and retraining the subconscious mind.
Okay. I like that. I have a podcast that I like to listen to and it's sort of my meditation and this lady talks about like in her mind your brain is your best chemo because she's helped people walk out of hospice because you can train your brain to heal your body. And so why couldn't you train your brain to think differently?
Mhm.
You know, like what you're am I saying that right? Like you
Yeah,
kind of got to
yeah.
rewire the way your
Yes.
thinking patterns.
Yeah, and so, like, 2 things, like, there's a slight difference, I think, in the way that we do it is for us understanding that mind is actually not your brain. Your brain is like your switching board. It's like an electronic switching
Okay.
board. It's a
That
part
makes
of your
sense.
physical body. Your mind is movement. It's a part of everything. So it's we can't see it though, right? So that's one thing that Bob teaches is this really simple visual of the sick person to just bring order to what the mind is and knowing that that is like our connection, our spirit, right? But yes, you can use your mind to alter things of your physical body and of your physical world. I mean, the power is really incredible and it's
Yeah.
amazing what we can do. So our thoughts become things, right? So harnessing and taking control over the thoughts that we have and what we allow to seep into our subconscious mind is so important and crucial.
So I'm an entrepreneur.
Mhm, mhm.
Let's use me as an example. Like, what's the process? I call you and we do like an intro and we just see if there's something that we can work together on.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the time, the people that I'm going to work with are, like I said, they're feeling stuck or frustrated with something. So usually it's they're not getting the results that they really desire, right? Or maybe they're already successful, but they want to move on to the next level, or several levels above, you know.
Okay. Is
So
success, could it be I want to lose 10 pounds? Or
it's
is it really driven to be more business sort of driven?
so it could be anything. Tend to focus mostly on the business side of things. Most of the people that I work with are either just feeling stuck or maybe they've been at the same level of income for the last 5 years and they're ready to move on. They're ready to have bigger success. Success is determined by the individual, right? What does success mean for you? So I think you had mentioned before is like losing weight as well. That could absolutely be. But so we use the term releasing weight because if you lose something, you're going to go find it and it's going to come back. but,
That's
um,
awesome. I like it. Releasing weight. Yes.
mhm.
Maybe that mindset will help.
Yeah, well, it really does. So that goes into like the cybernetics of it, but we can get there in a second. But yeah, so looking at, what are your goals, right? That's the biggest thing is trying to figure out what are your goals? What are your biggest desires, your biggest wants? And then seeing if, yes, are we a good fit? Could this be a good match? Would I be able to help you reach those things? But even if we focus primarily on the business side of things, the other areas of people's lives that we see improvement on is really amazing. Like relationships improve, relationship with yourself as well as relationship with others. Their health might improve, like all of these other things, just because you're working on your mindset. And even if your goals are geared around your financial or your business success, you're still probably going to see some pretty big improvements in other areas as well.
Yeah, I would think if you're changing the way you're thinking in terms of processing
Hmm.
and you're thinking in more positive terms, whatever it might be, and just the simple word of releasing, just changing those words, subconsciously changes it from positive to negative to positive,
Hmm.
right? And so you're emanating that positivity. I could totally see that.
Yep, absolutely. And that goes along with so a part of what we teach and help people with is so that idea of cybernetics, right? If you've read the book Psycho Cybernetics, or you have not yet, I highly recommend it. It's
No.
amazing.
Okay.
But so that dives really into the topic of like our self image, right? But if we think of ourselves and if you look at your own income and what you've had, you probably are kind of in a range, right? You have like a bottom and a top, and it never really dips below that and it never really goes above that. It's kind of in a range because we have programmed ourselves for this amount, right? So if you're going to try to go above that, lots of different things are going to kick in to bring you back down. Like maybe you have a really good month, the next month might not be that good, and you're going to end up evening out again right around here. So the key is we have to reframe, we have to change that subconscious programming. And it doesn't happen overnight, of course, but
Yeah.
as long as you have persistence and you do the things that you need to do to retrain that, it's really possible to now see yourself as Say you were making $10,000 a month, but you really desire to make $100,000 a month. Some people might look at you cross-eyed and be like, "That's impossible. There's no way you could make that leap." But I think it's absolutely 100% possible, and I have seen it happen from,
Nice.
yes, from not just people that I've worked with, but also colleagues and other people that I know. I mean, when you start to hear more and more stories and seeing these things really come to fruition, it builds your own beliefs. And I've come to understand our belief system is probably one of the most important things that we need to address if we want to make big changes. So you probably have beliefs you don't even know that you have.
Interesting.
I know. I'd probably say, I don't know, within the last year and a half, especially, started really diving more into trying to understand what beliefs I hold and how they're putting limitations on me. Because things like, like the statement I just made, can you go from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month? In the past, I would have been like, there's no way. Nobody can make that kind of a leap. And even if I said out loud, like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm sure that could happen. Inside, I know I would be saying, you're
Right.
full of shit. Like, that's not going
Yeah.
to happen,
It's
right?
not gonna happen.
My subconscious mind would be like, this doesn't exist. But now I've come to understand that I need to change. So you have to have the beliefs for what you want before you even have it, right?
Yeah.
Which is so hard for some people to do, to look beyond our current reality, our current circumstance to the circumstance that you desire and build the belief and the self image for that before you even have it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. So what are these exercises? Like, can you give examples of like how a person can make that transition and what kind of time it takes to do that?
Yeah. So the time is tricky because each person is going to be coming from a very different place, right? Some of us might have beliefs that have been so ingrained in us from the moment we were born that we have a very hard time retraining, right? Or building new beliefs and or building a new self-image because our self-image is another really huge part of that. How we see ourselves, like, do we see ourselves as successful? Do we see ourselves as a person who can make 100K a month? Like, what do you see yourself as? And a lot of these things we're not even aware of, right? Like, we don't even know that they exist. So I've seen some people be able to catch on to this and just like it seems like overnight they can just change their beliefs and it's really amazing and
That
they
is
have
pretty
really
cool.
quick huge success and it's so cool to see, but there's so many of us that it doesn't happen that quickly
Yeah.
because we might have more things that we have to work through. There might be more deep-seated things that we weren't aware were there. It really depends on your past and what your experience and your journey has been so far. The average though, and why so like, the 2 main things that I do are, like, the 2 different six-month programs. So you could either just do the first one for 6 months, and you can get some really good, amazing results in those 6 months, or if you continue, you can do a whole year. And then there's lots of little ones after that, but even in that 6-month time frame, you should be able to see some pretty clear changes.
So is that reading books and watching videos, meeting with you once a week? Like what does that program look like?
So, there are videos to watch often. There's a combination of group coaching sessions as well as some one-on-one calls as well. And then there are definitely exercises to do on your own time as well to make sure that you're getting the most out of it.
That's really cool. And so how do people find you?
So the best place to go is bringonpossible.com and then all of my links and everything is there.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's really cool. I definitely want to do it, but
Let's do
I
it.
don't have the bandwidth yet. Um,
Mm,
launching companies is excruciating against time, right?
it can be, but see, that's your
Yeah.
belief, right? Oh, look at that.
There we go.
You
We have something to
believe
work
that it's
on.
gonna take. So that's another thing I love to challenge people on. Can you do more with less time?
Can you do more with less time? Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's possible, but right now I'm attributing 21,000 rows of data that I don't know unless I use AI, there's no faster way than between the video, I'd spend 10 to 15 hours per episode on a podcast. So, I don't
Mhm.
know, unless I hire someone, I don't really where else does that time go?
That's absolutely true, right? Like, delegating or finding I know
Yeah,
that's something I have to challenge myself with because especially when I was, still trying to work as a physical therapist and do coaching because I had some overlap there before I completely
dove
was
in.
able to get let go of the physical therapy profession. But we were also homeschooling,
Wow.
which we still do. But so, building a business while going out and seeing patients and homeschooling and teaching at one of the enrichment programs that they went to and
Wow.
everything that I was doing. But I still made it work, right? So I had to find ways to reallocate my time. I did have to, before I thought I was ready, I had to hire an assistant. Even though in the beginning I might not have been making any money, but I knew that if I wanted to make it work and go to where I needed to go, I had to have help. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
found ways to do it and it's really challenging, but we all have to find what's going to be best for us, right? But those minutes are there somewhere for whatever it is that we desire to do.
Yeah. Fair. It's a trade-off, right?
It
It's
is, yes.
kinda one for
But I
the other.
also found where I thought that I was really busy, but I wasn't really I thought I was being productive, but I really wasn't in a lot of areas.
Fair.
So
Yeah.
I was taking
I'm
up a
sure
lot
we
of
could all
time.
evaluate on that. Like, I wish I had, like, 5 minutes a day I'd allocate to reading jokes and just laugh for 5 minutes, like, that would
I
be
love
fun.
that. You should
Yeah.
do that.
I should do that because
Yes.
I have a newsletter and I'm always looking for good jokes and,
Mhm.
industry if I can, and that would just make me laugh. Then I'd have a joke to tell my friends every time I saw them. It's
Yeah.
just it's just kind of fun.
Well, it is fun, and then see, that's raising your vibration. That's putting you in a great place. So maybe even before you start your work, just read jokes and
Yeah.
have some fun,
Giggle.
and then use that as you go into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like this. We're making progress, Jenny.
Already, I love it.
Man, this is really, really cool. So your focus is really the entrepreneurial. Is it startup to corporate? Is it anybody?
Yeah, it really can be anybody.
Yeah.
I thought for a long time because the people tell you you gotta niche down until there's like you've eliminated everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that never settled well with me.
Yeah.
I could never be that limiting. So I really keep it open to quite honestly anybody who I think is a good fit that I could help. 100% happy to help
100%
them.
there.
Yes, but just focusing primarily on the business owners and entrepreneurs at this time, but any level of their journey. I think
Yeah.
which is part of the fun, right? Because if I mean, there was even people that are like, you should niche down to people who are making this income for you. And I'm like, well, that just doesn't, it's
Yeah.
just
I
not
think
me.
it's
This is my
more
soapbox for the day. But, like,
yeah, I agree with you because that doesn't really matter. It should be about what
mm-mm.
they want more than what they're made
Yes,
because
yes.
that's arbitrary.
It
Some
is
people are
arbitrary.
happy.
Thank
Some
you.
people are happy with different amounts, so that doesn't seem
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes. And I love helping people who are like early in their journey, as well as people who have already seen great success
yeah.
but they're ready to go further. Like there's such a beautiful spectrum and it's really fun to see all the different parts of the journey, right? But
Mhm.
and I always go back to so anybody who is familiar with Bob Proctor, if you go to the Proctor Gallagher Institute website, I mean the first thing they say is show me what you want and I'll show you how to get it. Or, tell me what you want, I'll show you how to get it. It's like
Nice.
how vague is that, right? But
But it's true.
it is true because no matter
It's
what
very
it is
simple.
that we're working on this material, working on your mindset is
Yeah.
like the key behind all of it, right? So it doesn't matter what industry you're working in. It doesn't matter where you are on your business journey,
Yeah.
but just the fact that you have a desire for more, that you want to
Mhm.
grow, you have this, something inside of you telling you that you are meant for something bigger than where you're at, then let's make it happen.
I see this a lot. I don't see it because I'm not a recruiter, but my wife's and I best are one of our besties here in Dallas.
Mhm.
She started her own business and she helps people transition from careers to new careers.
Mhm.
And that's a big mindset, right? That's a big change. And I could
It
see
is.
where someone like you could really benefit to what she's offering
Mhm.
because, she doesn't really have the extra bandwidth to be the cheerleader. I mean, I'm sure she is in many cases, but she's more the resume writer. Let's get you ready to transition
Mhm.
into a new career. And that is a really hard thing to do. And you're right in that sweet spot where people are wanting something different. They see themselves doing something different. So how do we
Yeah.
get there? And what does
Yeah,
that look like?
absolutely. And I love that too, like being able to translate your experience to like look good on a resume for whoever that next person is. I know for veterans, that's a huge thing that there's a lot of help for that because they have all this experience in the
Yeah,
military and it is legit experience, but it doesn't look exactly like, what
right.
the
It doesn't
corporate
translate.
world.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that doesn't discount all of this amazing thing that they've done, right? So, but being able to find a way to translate that into, look at how accomplished I am. Look at all of these great assets that I have, and then how those can be, a power for whatever that next career path is. Like for me, shifting from being a physical therapist to a coach, like it's very different, but it isn't at the same time,
Yeah,
right?
you're still coaching people to do the right exercises and make sure they do it.
Absolutely, yes. And I
Yeah.
felt like there were so many times where our PT sessions were more, I don't mean this in like but more like psychology sessions, like just as, they would come to me and there was always usually much more going on than just
Yes.
whatever the physical was,
Right.
right? Which
Yep.
is another piece to this, right?
The
But I didn't
emotional.
know that as much at the time. Yeah, so many different emotions and mindsets around their injury and how that's impacted their life and, whatever it is that they were going through. So I spent more time almost, encouraging, just kind of doing this work already without even knowing it, right? And then as
That's
I
cool.
learn more, I can look
Yeah.
back and see now, like, wow, if only I had this information when I was treating these people, what could we have done, right?
So, do you use it on your kids?
I do, to an extent.
Well, I don't know how old they are, but I mean, is that sort of a mindset of words and like how they understand what you're saying to translate into a more positive kind of mindset?
Yes. So we work on that a lot and like our self-talk, especially for our daughter. So our kids are 9 and 6. Our daughter is the older one, and I don't know if us women are just naturally like for this, but the negative self-talk that
Yes.
she
It gets
started
worse before it
at
gets better.
such a young age. Yes. So 2 ways, I try to just live it out as an example for them, but I also try to catch them anytime that they're saying something negative, like for a while for her it was math. Like believing that she wasn't smart or good at math. And so just helping to show her how to reframe that, how to change that thinking. But it's funny that you say that. I was actually going to start teaching them like our stick person and like understanding what the mind is and all of that stuff over the summer, just kind of
I
for
think it'd be
fun.
really
But
cool.
yeah, but again, like our daughter needs to be a little bit more open. So I have to inject it carefully
Yeah.
for her, right? Her son is a little bit more like, "Oh yeah." So he's good with
That's
whatever.
gonna
Like, "Oh, that sounds great." Like I was giving him oh, yes, that would be a big motivator for him. Like I'll already tell him things to do to like tell himself repeatedly, right? Like if there's issues that he is having like behavioral stuff, whatever. So I'm gonna try to implement a lot of this with him actually because he also has ADHD, which
Okay.
we learned recently. And so I'm kinda curious not to, like, use this as an experiment, but I'm just curious if I can implement a lot of this with him and just see how, as he gets older, that looks,
If you can
right?
control it a little more. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm definitely working on getting it into our
That's really
lives
cool.
regularly. Mhm.
They're lucky kids.
I'll tell him you said that.
Yeah, please do. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So do you wanna talk about your costs at all, or is that kinda depending on the program that people do?
Sure, that's fine. The 2 six-month programs, well, if you just do the first one. Sorry, I'm finishing that cough drop. It's,
No problem.
it's
Sounds
10,500.
tasty.
Actually, it is. It was like eucalyptus or something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So, so that one is 10,500 for the 6 months, but
Okay.
if you decide to do the additional one, then the 2 of them together is 18,000 for the
Okay.
full year, and then there's
Nice.
other smaller level programs, like, I have one. Actually, I have one that I'm really excited about that I'm gonna be releasing soon that I'm working with, she is an executive stylist, but one thing that when it comes to self-image, like, one of the fastest ways to start changing your self-image is actually by changing, how you dress or, like, how
Yes.
you show up physically, because
Yeah.
then that affects your persona, and so it was really interesting, we met her, or I met her on a podcast somewhere else.
Cool.
And so now we're coming together to do this smaller program focused really around that self-image. And that one will be, we haven't decided yet, but it'll be under 1500. And then there's another program that is just around money. And that one is going to be priced at, but that's a shorter program that's only about 3 months long. So,
Okay.
and then there's some other just small things that people can pick up if they like.
Okay, very cool. And then after those programs are over, is there any kind of check-ins or anything that you do to kinda help people stay on the path?
Yeah. So, well, I have a Facebook group that, everybody actually, I just started the Facebook group, so that's pretty new, only like a month ago or so. But that's definitely a place I want to make sure everybody who comes in can at least stay there for one thing. But then I also have right now it's on WhatsApp community so that we can have a direct communication as well.
Okay.
Because I do think that 2 things. One, once somebody starts to get into this stuff, it's
Hmm.
like they just want more, right? It's
Yeah.
really, which is great. I mean, that's kinda how I was too, right? I'm just like, "I
Yeah.
love this, it's so exciting." So, I wanna make sure to be able to nurture that of people if they, want more, one of the smaller programs, maybe whatever that is, or then the other side of that is sometimes if you start to go on your own and you don't have that check-in anymore, then I don't want anybody to deviate back at all. So the
Yeah.
goal for after going through, even just if it's one 6-month program, is to have permanent changes that you're not going to yo-yo back, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't want that anymore. We don't want like the New Year's resolution where we started to see improvement or, I joined the gym and I went for a couple weeks and then I just stopped, right? Like we
Right.
don't want that to happen. This needs to be a permanent change.
Permanent.
Yeah, but as I was saying before, if you've worked through all of these different things, but then you come further down the line and you start it's like an onion, right? And now we've uncovered something else. So you might need a little bit of guidance there as well. So I never like fully just let people go, which is another reason why I have not yet done any programs or courses that you can just buy and do on your own. Because I know even from my own experience, when I've tried to do that, I don't really get as much out of it.
Yeah, I don't know that this is one of those. It's such a different way of thinking and a different approach
Mhm,
to things that I think it would be like, for me, I would rather have one-on-ones,
mhm,
versus, like, the group things.
mhm,
And so I can totally see how, you could watch videos for sure, as part of the program, but I think that this would require you to hear certain things that
Mhm.
we need to overcome, right? And then you gotta tailor it to what those things are.
Yes, and your personal need, right? So and that's where again, like, I was before I started this, I was just consuming, right, as much information as I could, but I didn't know how to implement it because I was just
Yeah.
taking in so much different information from so many different places, but I wasn't getting a change because I didn't know how to make it work for me. Right. So, and that's really the key. So, like, so you have all this knowledge, right, in your conscious mind, but how do we make it work for you? And
Yeah.
how do we, adjust it for your specific circumstances and
Right.
your specific self? Which is again why I just love the combination of all the pieces
Mhm.
because, having the videos that you can watch multiple times on your own really helps to start reprogramming things. Having exercises to make you start to get into deep thinking is also really important. I love the group session parts of it just because being around other like-minded people that are also driven and then you get to pick up from other people as well. If it's all
Like,
just me all the
yeah.
time, like that can get a little dull, right? So we get to
Or you broaden your perspective and ideas.
yes, yes. And you
Yeah.
get to see people because it's also the group sessions, they might not be at the same place that you are. Along the path of the 6 months, because it doesn't all start at the same time, it's just a rolling enrollment, so, you
Yeah.
might be with somebody who's, 5 lessons down from you, and so you get to, like, hear and see what that might look like, and so it's really exciting, but then the one-on-one time so that you can say, "Okay, what are your personal specific questions that maybe you didn't feel comfortable bringing it up in the group?" So,
Yeah.
just being able to have all those pieces, I think is really beautiful. I absolutely love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, do you feel like the resources that you were given in the Navy when you kind of transitioned out, did were they helpful for you? I've been told it's a little overwhelming to some degree because I think there's like 80,000 different organizations that want to help. Like,
Mhm.
can you talk about that a little bit?
So for me, I don't think that I utilized a lot of things right away. I've kind of learned as I needed them. The
Okay.
first thing that
And
I
they're still available
absolutely they're still
to you now,
available,
which is
absolutely.
awesome.
Yes, there and you're right, there is you talk about abundance. There's an abundance of things and resources that are available to you as you're coming out.
That's awesome. That's a lot of love for our troops
It
and our
is, yes,
service men
but
and
you're
women.
right
Yeah.
because you need to know how to access them, right? And that's where
Yeah.
it can become overwhelming. I have not had any trouble. Everything that I've needed, I've been able to find somebody I can contact to get help with making sure that I get it correctly. But the first thing that I made sure I had when I came out was being in the VA healthcare system. So
Yeah.
that was number 1 for me, and then everything else I've just used as I needed it, right? Like getting a VA home loan, like and now utilizing the DAV to help with any, like, disability ratings, like, all of these different things. There really is so much, and actually, there's even a what do they call it? Vetrepreneur, but they even do
Well, that's
free
cool.
classes, yes, for
Nice.
veterans that want to or starting an entrepreneur becoming an entrepreneur. So there's even resources for that as well.
That's
So,
great.
yeah, but you're right. It is a lot and it can be overwhelming. So I think focusing in on what things you will need the most and learning more about those and then just kind of taking it as you go.
As you go. Is there any particular skill sets or things that you think about from your days of service that translate into helping you with your business today?
I think adaptability would probably be the biggest. Um, Anytime that you thought you knew what you were doing or where you're gonna be going, things could change last minute, right?
Yeah.
And, being able to be flexible and go with the flow of that has been really important for me. I think I used to be a lot more I've always been a little bit easygoing, but in certain areas, I was very rigid.
Yeah.
This has to happen now. This like, and I would say that my time definitely increased my patience and understanding and being able to shift when things were not exactly how we thought they might
Yeah.
be.
Well put. So Do you have any mentors that you wanna mention that you've had along the way?
Yeah, well, I still consider Bob to be my biggest mentor. Even though he's not physically with us anymore, I can still feel his presence. I know that he is here watching over us all the
He's
time.
your guiding light. He
Yes,
brought you to
yes.
yeah.
But aside from him, Brian Matson has been a huge mentor for me, and, Polly Hahn is another person that I talk to a lot and really respect her. And then just people that I enjoy listening to that I don't work with directly, but, I love listening to Kathleen Cameron. If you are not familiar with her, I would look her up. You would love her.
Okay.
Um,
Alright.
she's absolutely incredible. And then, Karen Brook, I love listening to as well, and Kim Calvert. So those are a few people that I really enjoy. They're in the same, kind of line of work as well. And I know there's so many more, but those are kind of the big people that come to mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about resources? I know you mentioned a book I need to read. Is there other books or resources or, you know, YouTube videos or anything that you would recommend to kinda get intro people to what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a YouTube channel I started that was new this year as well. So we're working on growing that. So some of these concepts are I'm teaching on there as well. Always, I mean, any teachings from Bob, I absolutely love. I think his way of teaching was really remarkable. But books, everyone should definitely read Think and Grow Rich. I think that's just such, he lays it out so well, Napoleon Hill in that book. Uh, Psycho-Cybernetics, I already mentioned, and also Neville Goddard, if you haven't read any of his work, I
Okay.
really love. It's a little deep and kind of, it can take a few reads to really get into it, but his just connected so many things for me. I really love his work, so
Okay.
that's another person I highly recommend.
Do you recommend listening to them from an audio standpoint? That's kinda how I get my
You can do
information more than
either.
yeah.
I mean, there's even Neville Goddard, like, his book came out in, like, 52, I think, 1952, but there's still recordings of him speaking, and I'm
Okay.
sure there's an audio version of the book
Somebody's done it.
somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do a lot of audiobooks as well because I'm usually that multitasking, right?
That's right. In the
Listening while
car, with the
driving
kids
is a big
somewhere.
one. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walking, I like to, throw something on or biking
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah. Working out in the gym.
Mhm.
I know it's kinda not
No,
motivating in some
it's
senses
so
to li
funny.
but I like
I
listening
have
to
this thought
podcasts.
every time because I'm like, if anybody knew what I was listening to, they would think I'm crazy because I'm usually listening to either like a trading video or I'm listening to like
Yep.
one of these, always. That's what I
In the
have
shower.
on yes.
I mean, why not be learning all the time?
Yes, and actually, you know what I have found though, because sometimes I'll listen to music while I'm working out, but especially even like if I'm running or something, the music isn't enough to keep my mind preoccupied. Like it needs
Yeah.
more stimulation. So if
Yeah.
I'm listening to this stuff, it's so much
You
deeper.
can
My mind
follow
is
it.
much more
Yep.
preoccupied and I can forget about the discomfort of running.
Well, that is awesome. So what do you do in your non-mom, non-work time? Do you have any
Non-mom
time?
time. Does that exist? That'll
No.
be in 10 years. But
Do you like to ride bike or go to the movies? Is there anything that you really enjoy outside of all the
yeah,
responsibilities?
I mean, I do like going to the gym. That's kind of my personal
Release?
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like my quiet time. So I can listen to these things without interruption and that kind of stuff. But aside from that, just being in nature is probably the biggest thing for me. I don't do a lot of, spa or that kind of stuff. That just hasn't been my jam so much, but I love being able to go out. If I can go out and go for a walk or a hike or
Yeah.
when it's warm, I love paddleboarding. And see, I love being on the water. That's why I need to be by the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is how I recharge, and that is my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if maybe if you like to be on the water, Virginia might be a little safer because there's these things called alligators in Florida. I mean, we don't see too many paddleboarders in our neighborhood. We don't live on a
Right.
lake, but we have lake because we live in Lake Mary, so there's lakes everywhere.
Mm, mhm,
Don't see too
mhm.
many people paddleboarding, but and kayaking, but it's so fun though. I love it too.
It's really
Paddleboarding is
fun,
so fun.
and I love it because you could do like, you can make it a good workout, or you can
Yeah,
just, like, chill and
chill.
enjoy,
Yeah,
and yeah, I just love it.
that's awesome. So, I know you're not from Colorado, but
Mhm.
are you an Avalanche fan?
No, no matter where I live,
Okay.
I'm always gonna be a Chicago fan.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm from Iowa, so I'm always defaulting to Chicago.
Yeah.
My mom's from Kansas City, so we're, Cubbies and Royals and Chiefs fans and whatnot. So, but our some other besties that we have here are Stars fans, and so I was gonna show my
Yep, yep. Well, I lived in
we
Dallas
beat 'em
for a little bit.
overtime. You did?
I
Okay.
did, yeah, yeah. That was our first job out of PT school was in Dallas.
Okay. A lot of places for that, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, for Baylor was where we worked.
Yeah.
Big system.
So,
Yeah.
is there anything else we haven't mentioned that you wanna talk about in terms of your business
Oh
or anything?
gosh. I mean, I could talk about this stuff forever because I just love it so much, but I think we covered a pretty good.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, well, you know what? Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all the luck. And thank you for your service for sure.
Thank you.
I'm glad all your trips were safe and you got to meet all those people from all over the world. And hopefully, you're still in touch with some of them because I'm sure that's been really fun to follow all their successes in life wherever they may be. you
Yes.
know, I
Yes.
know I went to grad school in France, and so I'm in touch with people from not so much all over the world, but over Europe. And then
Yeah.
it's been 20 years, so it's distant. But if I were to say, "Hey, I'm going to Europe," people would be like, "Let's go, let's do it."
I love that. That's awesome.
So yeah,
Very cool.
all right. Well, I will let you get back to it, but thank you again for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Produced by Fedora J Productions.